Welcome back to Creating Stuff. Today in the shop, I am back working on the MGB fuel injection, and this is going to be the final episode of the entire series. I'm going to put a link to the previous videos to see how, so if this is your first video, you can see how I got to this point. So, but now starting to get exciting. I have everything put together, and I'm getting ready for the first startup. So first of all, I'm going to take a quick peek, show you around underneath the engine compartment, what it looks like. All right, here's the engine compartment. Here's the throttle body for Holley Sniper, the heart of making the whole thing work. That with the adapter on the intake manifold. I'm not going to show you some of the wiring back there. Because right now I have what I call get it done-itis, meaning I've been working on this long enough, I'm ready to be done with it. So I'm ready to do the final push and get this thing done. So all my fuel lines are done. I got the downstream fuel filter up there. Wiring's done. I got my adapter with my thermostat housing adapter with the temperature sensor. All that's in and done. Wiring's all fit into the car. So it's looking pretty good at this point. So now just a spoiler alert. Now just a spoiler alert on this episode is, I said I'm going to be doing the first start, and basically this is kind of be a how-to set up a Holley Sniper. The Holley Sniper, it's an electronic carburetor is the best way to look at it. And instead of doing adjustments with a screwdriver or changing jets, you're going to be touching a touchscreen or using a laptop. So that's the best way I'd like to describe it. And if I can take some of I'd like to take some of the scariness away from it if I can. But ultimately, the biggest thing is the programming for the Sniper is really what makes it easy. Because I'll be honest, the Sniper self-tune, it actually does a really good job. I can't say that enough, because it's actually worked really well. So now I got to address the elephant in the room. And first and foremost is if the Holley Sniper is not a fix-all for everything. Is if you have a mechanical issue with your engine, and that's the reason why it's running badly, the Sniper will not fix that. So once again, it will solve a lot of carburetor issues. Like I said, because carburetors can be a little bit finicky. It's very, very powerful. You can do a lot of stuff, but ultimately, if your engine is not right, the Sniper's not going to fix that for you. So, and I'll give you my own personal experience as, or more or less, a story behind that is. When I put my FJ40 together, which you can see it back there in the background, the other side of the shop, basically I never started on a carburetor. I just wanted to go fuel injection from the get-go. I decided to go the Sniper. I'm very happy with that. And basically I had multiple problems. And the truth of it is, every time I wanted to say it was the Sniper's fault, it was that problem, it was blah, 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 it was something else. In all honesty, I did not have a single issue with the Sniper. I had a problem with everything else. So, and just some of the examples is when I first started my Land Cruiser up, it just ran like absolute garbage. It ran for 20 minutes, and I just couldn't make heads or tail of it. I've had bad first starts in the past, but that was really bad. It ran really, really horrible. As it turns out, I had a blown head gasket. So that really, really sucked, but it is what it is. So once I got the head gasket fixed, basically had to get some machine work done, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to bore you with all that. Once that issue was fixed, then I did another first startup, and it ran silky smooth. I mean, it was one of the best first starts you could have. Actually, it was a second start, but still, it ran really well. Then when I started working through it, trying to get fine-tuning is really what I was coming, because it was running good, but not really good. I'm very picky about how my vehicles run. And one of my first problems was the Sniper was taking a lot of fuel out. I mean, a lot. And like I said, temperature-wise, the longer you drove it, it really had issues. And when I ended up going to, and I looked in the programming, and the Sniper was taking a lot of fuel out. And so I went to go put gas in it. I went to go take the gas cap off. Guess what? My gas cap flew 5 feet out of my hand. So basically, my fuel system wasn't vented. And basically, because just when the fuel circulates, it gets really, really hot. And, relative, but it does get hot. And so not to mention all the other heat that it can accumulate from the engine compartment. So with that being said, since the fuel system was pressurizing itself, and it couldn't vent itself, it was adding way more fuel pressure than the Sniper was expecting. So once I vented the fuel system, that problem went away. And then, like I said, I was still tinkering around with some other issues. And then a big one was, like I said, it didn't have, it ran really good, but the idle wasn't perfect. I like a silky smooth idle. That's how I like my vehicles. And it was a smooth idle, but not smooth. I mean, when you can hear it popping out of the tailpipe, I'm like, nah, that's not right. Well, as it turns out, I missed a section in the manual, in the procedure for lashing the valves, is because apparently the FJ40 has a hot lash. So meaning you have to get the engine up to operating temperature, shut it off, take the valve cover off, lash it, and put the valve cover back on. Well, to be honest with you, they were lashed cold when the engine was put together, so it was never hot lashed. So when I took the valve cover off, I had not one single bit of lash in any of the exhaust valves. I could have burned every exhaust valve in that engine. So I relashed it, and as soon as I did that, I got a silky smooth idle. I mean, a silky smooth. I mean, that is what I was looking for. It's what I want. And and now it has a little bit of valve chatter, but a real tiny bit, but I'm good with that. I got my good idle. That's the way, I mean, like I said, it's lashed to spec. So once again, that issue, was with the engine, not with the Sniper. And then the last one, which is very simple, is basically when I get full throttle on it, it would, how do I say this? It would actually start stumbling a little bit. And the reality of it is, what happened was, and this is where Sniper wasn't causing the problem. I had an issue with the car that was causing it, or the Land Cruiser. Is basically what happened was, my alternator has an external regulator, and when I fired up and it was cold, I'd look at the Sniper display. It showed 14 volts. I'm good. I put it away. And I don't have accurate gauges. I have a charge discharge, but it's not that accurate enough to see fine tuning. And anyways, and when I looked at it when the thing was hot, alternator wasn't charging when it was hot. It was when the engine compartment got hot, the regulator stopped working. So basically, I wasn't getting full voltage to the fuel pump when the engine warmed up. So that's why I was having trouble with full throttle. So I replaced the voltage regulator for the alternator, and now I have full voltage to the fuel pump the entire time. That issue went away. So those are just some of the examples from my experience of troubleshooting some of the problems. So I'm not saying the Sniper can't be the source of the problem, but before you go that route, I would take a really good solid look at your engine. So once again, if you have a poor running car with a carburetor, the Sniper may fix it. If the problem's with the carburetor, the Sniper will fix it. So, but anyways, I'll tell you what, unfortunately, this video is going to have a lot of me running my mouth, so I might as well go ahead and get into it. So I gave you enough of my stories, but those were my lessons that I learned that I want to pass on to you, and I hope somebody can take something away from that. So, and once again, that's the whole purpose of this channel. I want to create knowledge. I want to create inspiration, and if there's anything I do to help anybody, that would be that's really my goal of what I'd like to do. So, so now. In this episode, what I'm going to focus on now, we're getting ready for the first start, is we have to do the initial setup on the sniper. Going to do the initial settings. I'm going to explain what the settings are for, and then I'm going to do a first start. I'm going to have to make sure I don't have any fuel leaks. Like I said, I have not checked my fuel system yet. Get ready to do that. So then after do all that, I'm going to do a first start. I'm going to show you a few tuning tips right off the bat, and then I'm going to go for a first drive. And when I go for the first drive, and then I'll come back and I'll show you a few more things. I hate to break it to you, this episode is going to be, I'm going to do quite a bit on the laptop. I hope this stays interesting. I hope you can get something from it and hope you follow along. So, but if not, if you put the questions in the comments, I'll do my best to answer them. Or if not, I will send you to somebody who can. And also, and then the last thing I will say is, if you're hesitant, although the sniper does a very good job of tuning it, I'll be honest, when I put it on my FJ40, I was wondering why no one was sharing any sniper files for doing this, and as it turns out, the sniper does, to me, I found it does a very good job of tuning, so there's really no need for that. But ultimately, if you're uncomfortable, like I said, please consult a professional. Please take it to a professional tuner. So, because they do have a saying, is, once again, on these cars, it doesn't apply as much, but you're always one click of a mouse away from disaster. So, and I'll probably touch on a little bit of that when I'm going through this. So, all right, let's get to it. All right, this is future Jim having to speak for Jim from in the past. And I want to apologize first and foremost. I was actually planning and doing an entire how to set up a Holley sniper, how to upgrade firmware, and more or less do everything. Unfortunately, how do I say this? A lot of my videos end up being corrupted or missing. So I don't have the car in my possession anymore, so it makes it a little difficult for me to do this. So, so for the most part, I'm going to have some bits and pieces on the process of doing this to hopefully take some of the scariness away from you. But unfortunately, majority of my footage and information and all my screen captures have been lost. So unfortunately, what you're seeing is all I have left. So unfortunately, when it comes to setting up a Holley sniper and doing some of the computer work, unfortunately, not unfortunately, I'll just have to refer you to other sources of information, because there's a lot out there. Holley does have some very good videos on setting up their product, so you'll just have to refer to those. And ultimately, in the end, if you're truly uncomfortable with tuning a car, take it to a professional tuner. I can't stress that enough. So anyways, well, back to the video. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is, this is your CAN bus connector on the sniper. I don't know if you can see it, but this is the connector that your touchscreen plugs into. This is also the connector that I'm going to use to hook the laptop up to this. So I'm going to plug the display into that plug for now, and take that mount off for now. So, and now what I'm going, just to start off, I'm going to turn the ignition on just to start things off. I haven't even powered this up yet, so I'm going to turn the ignition on and see if this display comes up. Alright, must have done something right. This powered up. I got my voltage, coolant temperature sensor, RPM. Well, and first and foremost, a lot of this is not going to read just because I have not done the initialization to this yet. I haven't programmed it, done the initial programming. So, and also, so with that being said, there's one thing I want to do before I do the programming. And also, it comes with a stylet you can use. I just use a Sharpie just because I lost the stylet for mine. I'm gonna leave the one in the bag for Dad so he can use it. Anyways, so, but the reason why I'm not gonna go ahead and start the setup is because I want to update the firmware in the Sniper. The firmware is actually in the throttle body in the ECM. And the reason I want to do that is because whenever you update the firmware, you wipe the program out unless you save it. So, which all honesty, I can set it up. I'm just trying to save myself a few steps. So, all right, now we're back at the car. And basically we're just going to take the micro SD, put it back in the larger SD card, and put it back in the display. Now I'm going to turn the ignition on, power the Sniper up. Alright, back on the display. I had to do some changes because I really wanted you to be able to see. And just whenever you're in this screen right here, all you have to do is tap the screen and you're going to go back one. So, but now we have to upgrade the firmware. So hit your home key. Whoops. Hit your home key. Then we're going to hit the file. Then we're going to ECU. Alright, now when you have this screen right here, upgrade your ECU firmware. You're going to go through a progress bar. Alright, firmware is done. Hit OK. So now we're going to cycle the power one time. Alright, we're back up. And now that we're up to date with our firmware. Alright, so now we're going to go to the setup. You are going to go to the setup wizard. And now I'm going to select the Sniper that it is, which is a 2300. It is not a Super Sniper. A Super Sniper has 4 injectors where this only has 2. There we go. 2 injector 2300. That is our Sniper. Number of cylinders 4. Idle speed for now I'm going to set this at 900. Everything is very changeable, and this setting right here is equivalent of the idle adjustment screw on your throttle lever. So that's all that is. Now this Sniper does have a idle adjustment screw on there, but there's a procedure to go through that. I'm going to show you that as we go on, get along. So go to the next. Just got a mild cam, and also a friend of mine who's done multiple these Sniper installs, but he mainly does the 4 barrels. If you can have stock, moderate, extreme, you have different levels of cams, and basically he's like, on initial startup, if it starts taking a lot of fuel out, he'll step it back down to a moderate or a mild cam to fix that, where we don't have that. Now the RPM, the ignition source is a coil negative. That's already been wired, and that's done. Is doing a program. the fuel pump cycled, and I don't have fuel spraying out everywhere, so that's a good thing. Alright, I just turned the ignition back on. The fuel pump did a cycle, so that's a good thing. That's programmed in there. So now we got to go through, do a few adjustments before we do a first start. I'm going to go to tuning, basic, and I'm going to do basic fuel, and so now we have a few adjustments that we have to make. First and foremost, our target air fuel ratio. So now, if you're getting, I'm going to throw some pictures in here. Now your target air fuel ratio, basically this is your mixture at an idle, is basically your idle mixture screws that you would have on your carburetor. That's what this is. I'll show a quick picture of the idle mixture screw, which does the idle and the mid-range jets. So that's this one right here, and basically this car is running 10% ethanol. So all my Land Cruiser and everything I have where I live, I have it on a strict real gas diet, no ethanol for me. Basically you have to have a slightly richer mixture for the ethanol. So, but we're going to put it this way. All the settings in here are on the rich side. And that's safe, because if it's rich, the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to foul spark plugs out. So, versus if you go too lean, that's when you can burn a tip off a spark plug, you can burn a piston, you can do some damage if you're too lean. So these are actually on the fairly amount on the rich side. And that's just, I guarantee you, that's just Holly being smart, trying to prevent lawsuits, I guess. I don't know. But for 10% ethanol, I think the air fuel ratio is like 14 point something to 1. But once again, I'm going to start a little bit on the rich side, and basically going to, and as we slowly get this thing running, and this is actually going to start leaning, we're going to start leaning this out a little bit. So, but I'm going to start a little bit on the rich side. So save that. We're going to the target air fuel ratio at the cruise. Tell you what, I'm going to richen that up just a little bit. Once again, I'm going to lean that out as we go along. And the wide open throttle. So anyways, and I meant to say it, but this target air fuel ratio at a cruise, this is the equivalent of changing the main jets for your Venturi for your carburetor. That's what this adjustment does. So whenever you change your main jets, on how you have to take the top of the carburetor off, drain the float bowl, and do this, that's now you can do it at a click of a mouse or a click of a Sharpie. So, and the wide open throttle, that could be your power valve if you're a Ford guy. And your idle, that's your idle mixture jets. All right, so those are all set up for our first start. Back up, that was the acceleration enrichment. The fuel pump is set up for a prime. Basically, I like that because when I turn the key on, I know the fuel pump's powered up, is going to run for 5 seconds. You can change that to whatever you want. I'm happy with the way it is. Now, we're going to go to the accelerator enrichment. This right now is equivalent of your accelerator pump on your carburetor. Is a lot of carburetors have an adjustment so it controls how much fuel squirts in when you snap the accelerator. That's what this does. This actual adjustment here is a global setting. You go into the laptop, there's a lot more settings you can go into for different things. But I'm going to tell you from experience, just from doing my Land Cruiser, that's way too rich. Because this setting right here, it goes out of closed loop and runs fixed. And basically, my Land Cruiser was blowing black smoke. So that's not good. So once again, when you're tuning it, please look at your, you got to look at your tailpipe. It's just part of tuning it. That's actually some of the simplest things. Your senses, your own, what you can hear, what you can smell, what you can feel, is actually can be more important than a lot of technologically advanced tools. Basically, some people call it the butt dyno. There's some people who are very good at that. So, okay, sorry this is taking so long, but just from the few snipers that I have set up, I will tell you, I will start the accelerator enrichment at 16 pounds per hour. And once again, if you have a stumble when you hit the accelerator pump, when you hit the accelerator, increase that. If you're blowing black smoke when you hit the when you rev it, hit the accelerator, back it off. So once again, if you had the linkage on your accelerator pump, that's what that does. I'm going to save that. I'm happy with that. And that's about the best thing we can do until we do our first start, which is getting ready to do that. I got to check the fuel system. It's cycled and make sure there's no leaks. Anyways, so I'm going to get ready to set up to see if we can do a first start on this, get it to run, and then I'm going to show you a few other things. All right, I have checked the fuel system. It's free of leaks right now. But here's my public service announcement. Anytime you're working with anything fuel, keep a fire extinguisher handy. That's a public service announcement. So, but now this is a true first start. I have not started this beforehand, so this is going to be a raw, unedited. See what happens when I first start this. Let's see what happens. Well, all right. I'm a couple days after that last clip you saw. That was a very honest first start, and once you start working with a sniper, you're gonna find out it does a strange thing from time to time. Is when you're touching the touch screen, you can set a value, hit OK, then it saves it as a different value. I call it fat fingers, or I don't know. But anyways, when I did the initial setup, one of the parameters got skewed way out of whack. That's why I was having trouble starting. So, but I got that figured out, and I actually learned a lot more, because this is the very first time that I have ever put a sniper on an engine this small. So tell you what, now I got a few things squared away. I'm going to start it up again. We'll see how this looks, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about what I did. For the record, that's actually idling better than when I got in the car. So let me shut this off, and I'm going to show you a few things. All right, that didn't run half bad. Like I said, for the record, it idles better than when I got it. So I will take that as a win. But once again, actually the rough idle, the sniper didn't fix that. What that was something totally different. Let me just turn the camera around. I want to show you something. Part of the reason why the engine was idling so bad is because the clip, the bottom clip for this distributor cap, wasn't holding. And so when the engine was off, the cap would look normal. Once you fire it up, and if you look at it at an idle, the cap would actually be bouncing. It'd be pivoting off this upper clamp, and the cap was actually bouncing. It's causing the engine to miss. So, but when you revved up, it would, for whatever reason, it actually wouldn't bounce. It'd lay down and connect, and all the cylinders would fire. So I retensioned that. So that actually solved the rough idle. So the sniper had nothing to do with that. But while I'm down here, I want to point out something, is this is not an original distributor. This is a aftermarket distributor. This is not equipped with a vacuum advance. All it has is the mechanical advance built inside. So this car was originally built with a vacuum advance and a mechanical advance. And part of the reason this distributor was put in is because the other, the Weber side draft did not have a ported vacuum for the vacuum advance. Well, guess what? The Sniper does. So unfortunately, I don't have that distributor. So I will end up giving the car back to my dad, and I will let him, and he will end up converting the ignition system back to a factory ignition system. So but for the most part, it's running pretty good. It's, once again, the ignition system needs to be returned to a factory ignition system. Should help out a great deal. I'd like to see it idling a little bit better. Once again, there's going to be a little bit of fine-tuning involved. And I said it earlier in this video, or actually I think it was this video, when in doubt, seek a professional tuner if you're not comfortable. But actually, and the one thing I did learn on this, which I'll probably show you, I will show you in on the computer screen, because I'm getting ready to show you a few more tricks to working with a Sniper. I'm going to show you how to hook it to a laptop. But before I do that, I'm going to take this for a first test drive. Oh, I lost track where I was going. And one of the big settings I had to do is basically the Sniper had a limit on how much it could correct the fuel, because I had a real hard time getting the mixture to lean out on idle. And anyways, when I looked in the parameters on basically the Wizard settings, it wouldn't let you take but so much fuel out. So basically, since this is an incredibly small engine, it couldn't take enough fuel out to get the mixture right. So I raised all those numbers, got those up to somewhere where the Sniper could actually do something, and now the mixture is working a whole lot better. So still got some tweaking to do, but we've got to fix that ignition system before anything can be done. But now I'm going to take this car for a first test drive and see how it does, and then I'm going to show you some more tricks on how to use the Sniper software. So tell you what, let me quit my yakking, and let's take this thing for a test drive. And once again, another public service announcement. Take a fire extinguisher on your test drives. That's good advice. that was a very successful test drive, if I do say so myself. But the biggest plus side is I didn't have to walk back, and I didn't have to call anyone for help. So car made it back under its own power, so that's a very good thing. Actually, I really felt like the car ran great. Basically, it had plenty of power, plenty of high RPM. You could lug the engine down low, like I said, had pretty good low end, no spinning, no sputtering. The idle still needs a little work. Once again, until get the factory distributor back into it, really cannot do any real criticism on it. Best way to, I don't know. We really can't have a final thought on it until put the original ignition system back in. So, but all in all, I think this is working very well. Well, the time has come. This is the end of this video, along with the end of this video series on doing fuel injection conversion on a classic MGB. So I want to apologize for this video. It tended to get a little choppy. I had technical difficulties with, I had lost footage along with corrupted files, and on top of all that, I had the car for a limited time. And actually, when I say a limited time, I had limited working time on it, because for all the videos that you have seen on this MG, I mean, the time I worked on the car is measured in a couple of days. I might have had the car for about a month, because when I ordered the throttle body adapter to get machined along with the thermostat housing adapter, it took about a month for those two parts to come in. So yes, I had the car for about a month, but with my busy schedule, I mean, all honesty, I actually physically worked on the car for less than a week. I guess if I had to put a number on it, I maybe worked on it for 4 days, putting it 5 days tops. But and sometimes I only worked on it for an hour at a time. So I have a very busy schedule, so I was very limited on time. But the reality now, but this is the end of my story of this, because the car does not belong to me. I do not have it in my possession. It belongs to my father. He has it. He wanted to finish it. He wanted to tune it and do everything. So I don't have the process of that I can share with you. And once again, when it comes to tuning, if you're uncomfortable, I highly recommend you seek a professional tuner. But once again, this is the end of my story on the MGB fuel injection conversion. It was a very neat project. I like doing things that have never been done before, and because I really have seen very little on fuel injection conversions on MGs. I do believe another way to do it is they have imitation Weber side draft fuel injection throttle bodies, and once again, they make a manifold that bolts right on. But from what I understand, they're rather expensive. So I think the Holley Sniper is a little bit on the less expensive side, and from what I understand, I think they're a little bit more user-friendly. So, but anyways, this was a lot of fun. I hope you got some good information out of it. And once again, if there's any skill that I put into this, whether it's my CAD work or anything that you'd like more information on, or actually more specifically, like if more specifically, like the actual CAD work of designing the adapter plate, if you would like the specifics on how to do that, put it in the comments. If I have enough people, I'll be more than happy to do a video on how to do that, because the truth of it is, if you have an application other than this, that technique may work for you, and you might be able to fuel inject that vehicle, which otherwise would not be able to get it. So so once again, if you'd like further details on anything, please let me know on this video. Unfortunately, I will refer you to there's a lot of other people. Holly has some very good tutorial videos on the sniper. I recommend you watch those. And there's a lot of other people that deal a lot more in detail in tuning than I put in. I was trying to do a video to take the fear out of it. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. So, and I do apologize for that. And then once again, as I've said multiple times, I am sharing all my files that I made. So if you would like to do this to your own MG, like I said, there's an email address in the description, creatingstuffwithjim@gmail.com. Email me. I will be more than happy to send you, email you the files, and I have other resources that I will send with that as well, if you'd like to do this for your own car. I'll be more than happy to share it with you and help you the best way I can. So, but anyways, I'm gonna have to call this done. So if you like the video, please subscribe. Like the video if you did, share it with your friends, and if you want to see other stuff similar to this, I always like to work on neat stuff. Right now I'm still working on my Inferno build, which I've been working on that for a couple years now, and it's actually getting to a very exciting point. So anyways, so I'm gonna leave it at that, and tell you what, until the next one, be creative.